Hey all, Double 18 Set Shadow here. We've wrapped up Cyber Weekend, but as we continue to get into the holidays, there are still big potentials for additional sales as we get closer and closer to the end of the year. Although, the biggest hype train about it has basically come and passed. So there is going to be at least something of a slowdown in terms of the market after what we saw this weekend. But there certainly isn't a slowdown when it comes to the competitive scene as well as new support that keeps getting announced, like for Messiah. So we finally got an outlook on Transels, and we also got our side support card, Lady Battler of the Black Dwarf, which is actually quite good. Black Dwarf basically is like Arrestor Messiah in the sense that it locks itself after attacking, so it is another mid-battle phase unlock target like Arrestor Messiah is for multi-attack. Not to mention, it also has the bonus that it can actually revive itself from the drop zone. So if you do have to discard it or it gets retired from an early rush, you can bring it back based off cost and situation. With that in mind, and with the Chronojet support, like with Chronos Command that was announced before, I wanted to take a quick look at the two promos associated with the decks. So Prelude of Genesis is Messiah's support card, and this one has been the more popular of the two in comparison, where currently there's a $19 listing and 6 listings on the market overall. We saw a volume increase throughout the weekend, likely with the anticipation of the support to get announced, and honestly, I wouldn't say it disappoints. It was kind of what was expected, especially after seeing Chronos Command Dragon. In any case, with the listings going from 19 all the way to 29, we're back in the hype section of picking up this card. So I imagine we'll still see fluctuations, but DivineZ 6 will be coming in 2 months. So that's not too far away. Then we've got Footprints marking passage of time for Chronojet, where this one has always been significantly less popular in comparison, and we didn't see nearly as much volume over this weekend for this card. The high that this has sold for has been $8.25, and the vast majority of copies are actually consolidated around $7 right now. We have a number of copies that are $3 to $5, and they eventually creep up a bit more, so this card is actually making a slight increase despite the fact that it looks like the market price is on a decrease. It really just depends on if volume picks up for this card, but since it didn't pick up with the announcement of Chronos Command that heavily, I don't imagine there's going to be too much more to it. Blow Strike Brave Shooter. The card has been a tournament promo that you could pick up before and then got reprinted in Festival 2024. With Glory Maelstrom coming up, this is a card that has been getting some attention, and now when you take a look at all of its different listings, it ranges from $3 to $5 depending on which variant that you want to pick up. When it comes to market pricing, the non-foil promo and the festival reprint are about the same price, while the original foil promo is high up past $7 and also has the lowest amount of listings of all of these. Even as I say that, though, every single listing has less than 10 listings available. So I would be careful if you want to pick this up. It's $5 or less to pick up at this point, so might be a good idea. Glory Maelstrom is overall a good deck from what I've seen. The only thing I keep hearing is that it's got some consistency issues. Also, with DivineZ 6 giving us some new generics for clan-based support, I wanted to revisit Dragonic Overlord The End, as this card gets quite a nice power boost with Bellicosi Dragon. The triple rare that comes out of set 5, we have a listing as low as $6 right now, and the market price has been on an increase from around $5.50 to the current price of just over $8.50. So a $3 increase in market price over 3 months. And even though there is a $6 listing, after that it just moves up to $11 for the most part. And consolidation is actually around $15 for this card. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of anticipation just to give this deck a try now that it's got some more life breathed into it. Ordeal Dragon, which is a blaster support card, is doing okay for itself. It's got a lot of listings available, but as a promo card that's still worth about $5, that's nothing to scoff at, to be honest. The market price has seen a hefty drop-off, though. This was a really popular promo on the offset of its release, and it dropped all the way from over $12 to a market price of about $4.50. Currently, listings are available mostly around $5, and slowly make a rise, but that's only with shipping added. The whole first page of TCG Player basically has this card at $5, and I would only imagine this would really spike up if we finally hear some rumors about Blaster Blade the Vanguard. Sincere Confectioner Viol, which is one of the order pairs you can pick up for Festival 2024. This is the unit part of the pair for Stoeicheia, and it's actually pretty low on listings right now. $2 is the current low listing, 9 listings available, and I was talking about how most of these order pair cards have been seeing market price increases, and this is one of those that has a market price above $1 right now. In terms of what's available, they're still consolidated around $2, and otherwise, the highest listing right now is $3, but that also has a $5 shipping tag attached to it. In any case, this is definitely one to watch out for, especially given that Stoeicheia is getting a lot more hype with the upcoming big decks like Levy Dress and Night Rose, so I guess players are looking to experiment a little bit with that. Now I'm going to be going over triggers. In particular, what I want to do is just kind of take a look at a lot of the commons, base rarities. But in particular, I wanted to look over crits, heals, and then the over triggers. So let's start with crits, which ultimately, this is the easiest trigger to move in terms of sales. I can't tell you just how many sales over the past few months I've had where many of them have always had a playset of triggers attached to them that were crits, or people would just pick up playsets of criticals and not pick up anything else. The critical trigger has effectively become a staple of any deck. There's no deck in Standard right now that doesn't play them, and typically players want to play 8 of them. Now, when it comes to what they're available for, many of them have just over 10 listings or less than that. Like Peppery Pepper from Festival 2024 currently has 8 listings available starting from $1. This also comes from the starter deck sets that we got just before Fated Clash. I haven't listed those here just to keep it kind of consolidated, but I would definitely explore if you're looking to pick up certain crits here and there. But you always have options when it comes to individual nations if you want to pick up their triggers. Like Blitz Pilot Yacht for Brantgate currently has a market price of 83 cents versus Star Aggression Dragon, which has a market price of 175. So Yacht is actually the cheapest, I believe. Yeah, because even if you go all the way back to Cardinal Draco Barbizon, that card is still about $2, and the market price is also over $1. So Yacht is still the cheapest, my mistake. That is actually interesting in terms of grammar. But Yacht is the cheapest among the Brantgate critical triggers to pick up. And then you've got Light Elemental Pachiri, which can be played in any of them. And of course, you'll have other, encounter or collaboration-based crits, like the Bang Dream crits that we have been getting on a constant basis to also take a look at in comparison for price. And those can be played in any deck, like Pachiri can. Direful Doll Bethany is also around $1 to pick up for the 2024 edition of this one. And being that if Direful Dolls continue to see more play, this trigger will have some more value in general just because of its namesake. In comparison, you have Lively Breath Dragon, which has 16 listings on the market and a market price of 38 cents. So this is actually a really cheap Dark States trigger to pick up right now. Not paid attention to as much, but if you're really on a budget and need to pick up crits, you have options. Interestingly enough, Cheerful Sunshine Wall is for Lyrical Monasterio. Its Festival 2024 reprint trigger is really cheap. 33 cents as the market price, and it's got a base listing of 15 cents, which compared to all the other critical triggers that were reprinted in 2024, this one does not live up to the hype that the other ones have put forward. Because even Shivalmia has a 50-cent base listing, but has a market price of 78 cents right now. And that's among the cheapest as well. But Lyrical Monasterio just does not get as much love. Same can be said in my reflected sales. Heal triggers are not in the same boat as crits. Granted, you only are allowed to play 4 of them max per deck anyway, so you don't need to pick up nearly as many. You just need to pick up one play set, and then you're good. And of course, just like with critical triggers and any other trigger in the game right now, there's always a generic one that you can play. In this case, it's Leafy from Fated Clash that has a market price of 42 cents and base listings from 33 cents. But most of these other triggers like Cheery Support Elf, Gessoon, Tammuz, all have market prices lower than 50 cents right now. And Gessoon and Tammuz are under 30 cents. In comparison to some of the older heal triggers like Nabilum, Circulating Sorceress, and Steamskara Malnigal, those ones are actually close to or over $1. And then you've got Ultra Rate Sphere Dragon for Brankgate, which is also under 50 cents from its original printing in set 6. LG Pixie is one of the biggest ones right now, despite the fact that it doesn't have a namesake, compared to Direful Doll Alexandra, which is right behind it, but I guess LG Pixie just has too many fans. Then Overtriggers. So, as far as Overtriggers go, the blue Overtrigger Idiospharo, which is a generic Overtrigger that can be played in any deck, is still the biggest one to pick up right now. At a base price of $25 for the Fated Clash reprint, it's down to 5 listings, so keep an eye out on that as well. Dragveta is consistently among the top among best-selling of these triggers, and also value-wise. When you take a look at the Fated Clash and Set 6 Blazing Reborn reprints, they're $10 to $15 a piece, and the original is over $11, the original from the first set, Genesis of 5 Greats. Then you've got Eldo Breath, which is also selling quite well. Between Fated Clash's reprint and the Blazing Dragon reprint, this card is still under $10 market price and base listing wise, but still up there at $4 to $7 for the base listings. There's also the red Overtrigger Volnot, which is currently around $12 to pick up for its reprint. And then you've got other ones like Galmaged, which it is a bit more popular, but at the same time, it's also one of the cheaper Overtriggers to pick up, being at around $1 at that point. Blessed Favor is one of the more expensive ones where it's actually more middle of the road. $3 to $5 if you want to pick this one up. And then the two least popular of the Overtriggers right now, you've got the Cater Sanctuary variant, Amartinoa, which gives your rear guards additional drive checks. That one is not nearly as popular and is about the same price as Galmaged. And then you have the Lyrical Overtrigger, which its reprint from Fated Clash is currently at 33 cents market price and does not see nearly as much play. So effectively, when it comes to nation-specific Overtriggers, Eldo Breath, Blessed Favor, Dragveta, those are the big 3 that you really want to pay attention to when it comes to value. And if you do need to pick them up, Amatenora and any of the Lyrical Overtriggers are definitely well priced to just pick up as a backup. And Galmaged, same thing. It's a great Overtrigger regardless, even though it's rather cheap. Honeycomb Threes, which is the most recent reprint Perfect Guard for Stoeicheia, is up in value at a $2 base price and only 10 listings, Volume has dropped off on this card as a result of the increased price, but it's still up there. The typical volume from the last few months seems to have been around 30 per period, and now we're looking at closer to 22 to 25, but the price is increasing, which definitely points to that decrease in volume. But a lot of listings that are available have tons of copies, and they're all about $2, so this card has just seen a pretty hefty spike in value despite being the most recent reprint. Chris Rain. This card has been heavily neglected over the last several months and not as popular as many of the other Divine units. At this point, you can pick up the original triple rare for around $1. The silver rare is under $10 for its base listing, and the FFR is not too far away at about $15 for its base listing and 15 listings. The secret rare is at 7 listings and starts from $204 right now. We are getting some more support for some of the ride lines in DivineZ 3. Stoeicheia, which is the Stoeicheia Mantis Order base deck. This one has been getting some new support, but overall still has been getting neglected over time. 32 listings on its regular triple rare for as low as 25 cents, and a market price that's still under 50 cents. And even the FFR is barely above $10 in terms of its base listing. The secret rare is also under $100 for its base listing, but the market price is barely over it. Fly over Stoeicheia, which is one of Stoicheia's support cards. I just wanted to call this one out because despite the fact that it was intended to be played for the code-based deck, you can actually play this as a generic Stoicheia draw 1 for a counterblast. Because if you take a look at the first effect, it's literally, as long as you call it, you counterblast 1 to look for a codex, add it to your hand, and if you don't find a codex, you just draw 1 card. There's no Vanguard restriction and no other restriction at all, so literally you could just use it to shuffle the deck and then just draw a card. But it's a triple rare and still cheap. 37 listings for 24 cents at the minimum and a market price of 51 cents. There's also Fiery Immolation Dragon Codeblaze, which this is another one that I haven't really covered on Market Watch before because it just does not have any significant popularity as far as I've seen. 43 listings on its triple rare, and the market price is lower than its base listing right now. 22 cents market price, the lowest listing is currently 25 cents. The silver rare is barely $1, and the FFR is not even $10 for its base listing. And the secret rare, $80 for its base listing right now, and the market price is actually $58. And then you've also got Poison Knight of Silence, which is the Shadow Paladin-esque unit that deals with undercover units. The triple rare on this one is also really cheap at 25 cents to start and under 50 cents. And this one's silver rare is a little bit different, being just above $3 to pick up. And the secret rare of this one is $102, but this one actually did sell in the $200 range for some time. And our last card for today is Divine Sister Biscotti, the energy cycler for Cater Sanctuary, which has been on an interesting ride. It's been seeing an undulation on its market price, which started around 25 and almost made its way to 30. And then it fell all the way back down to 20 by the end of October, and now it's made a recovery, but with lesser sales. So I imagine there's just been a decrease in demand in terms of wanting to pick these up. Not enough to really just rule this card out, but as we continue to get more consistency pieces for individual archetypes, these cyclers will end up losing value over time in certain respects. Now, that really always depends on just what comes out for certain deck sets. Like, even the cyclers from set 10 have been seeing resurgences, and these ones are still expensive as it is, so you can't discount the fact that these are already pretty well priced as it is, if not a bit too expensive. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.